Hey guys, 𝐵enjiD here from 𝐾𝒂𝒓𝒕. Today we're going to be replacing the battery for the Samsung Gear 3 watch. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, SIM card tray ejector of some sort, a battery replacement, and a thin durable prying tool. Now all the tools needed for this repair will be linked down in the video description below, right down there. Now I spent 45 minutes trying to gain access to the internal workings of this tank-like built-like Nokia ass watch. The repair was a success, so let's get started. Now flip over the watch and locate the silver ball levers on the inner strap of the Gear 3. How the lever is pulled solely depends on the orientation of the watch. In this demonstration, the lever is positioned at the top right, therefore you're going to have to pull down to release the straps. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, remove the 4 screws on the back plating of the watch. Now this is where everything goes to shit. Plastic prying tool broke. I couldn't get my thin aluminum prying tool underneath the ridges in the back of the watch. Now using a suction cup did me no justice, it did me no good. This right here is nothing but a heart rate sensor. Do not tug or pull on this glass piece or else you will break the flex cable attached to the unit. In a few seconds here, you'll see a second set of hands pop up. After about 30 minutes of failed attempts, I decided to ask a friend of mine for assistance. We ended up finding a cavity covered by a protective plastic shield of some sort. I was able to use an earring to pry it out, but you can also use a SIM card tray ejector to remove it. Once removed, the person assisting me was able to take a Phillips screwdriver, insert it into the open cavity, and apply just enough force to get the back plating to lift out of its housing. I grabbed my guitar pick-like prying tool and got straight to business. I lodged the prying tool into the open crevice we created with the screwdriver to keep the opening secure. Then I used a thin prying tool to work the opening until it became wide enough to remove the back. Make sure the watch is turned off so you don't short circuit it with the screwdriver. There are 2 Phillips screws holding down the motherboard. Remove them. That's all I asked you to do, nothing else. Disconnect the 3 flex cables at the base of the motherboard. Carefully lift it, but be very cautious of this one. It is extremely delicate, so too much applied force will cause it to break. I can't stress that enough. I'm holding the motherboard and battery in this vertical position for the conveniency of this next step. Now, I recommend you use a prying tool that's not pointy. Duh, the fuck? Work through the sticky adhesive between the battery and motherboard. I use an up, down, back, forth motion while staying cautious of the flex cable I mentioned. I'm doing that very carefully so you're not going to notice it. Once the battery is separated from the motherboard, we want to set the old battery aside and grab the replacement battery. The orientation of the battery was a little bit tricky to figure out at first, but make sure that the side that has the printed words on it is facing down. The battery's flex cable connection sits to the left of these gold connection points. Set the motherboard in place, connect the LCD and digitizer, and test the watch to make sure it turns on. If it doesn't, that means the flex cable for the LCD or motherboard may have torn. In that case, you're pretty much fucked. If it does turn on, we're gonna continue. Screw the 3 screws back in place. Put the back on. Insert the 4 screws. Screw them. The very last step before we wrap it up for today, guys, is the straps. For most of you who's never removed them before, this step is also a bit tricky. You want to place the bottom stationary pin inside of the watch's sidearm socket. Now lay the pin with the lever on the sidearm is going to go into and pull the lever. It'll pop right into place. That pretty much wraps it up for this video, guys. If this how-to video was of any value to you, let me know down below. If you have any suggestions for any future videos, also let me know down below. Now subscribe if you feel like it. I have no fucking right to tell you what the hell to do. The fuck? Blessed day, guys. Peace out.